you're more comfortable piping with a nozzle. But I find it really easy to just snip the tip off the bag. Sorry, do you mind passing me this? Thanks. Okay, so now hold your piping bag really straight and then just cut a tiny hole, because for small biscuits you want to have a smaller hole so your line is thinner, and then as you get to work on your larger biscuits you can have a thicker line. So always just cut a little bit off first and then just test how thick your line is, and that's actually nice for the smaller biscuits. The other thing that's really important is to make sure you cut it really straight, so don't cut it at an angle like that or that, otherwise this worm will sort of squeeze out of the bag. So we'll start with the smaller ones. First I'll just show you the angles of your piping. So if you hold your bag like this so that your fingers here are pulling the seam nice and taut and your thumb is pushing from the top here. So don't ever squeeze down here, because the icing will just ooze out the top and you won't have all the pressure directed down towards the bottom. So you basically have less control. And then fold this down really tightly. You can actually fold it down even again. And then you're not having to press so hard. But you can see that the icing's quite stiff. It's holding its shape really well. It's not just flattening. So if you were piping a line, you squeeze and lift and then drop it down. Now you don't want to start squeezing and only then think of lifting, because then you have a big blob like that. And at the same time you don't want to only stop squeezing when you get to the end. So you've always got to look slightly ahead of where you're going. So you squeeze and lift immediately. And now already I can see I've got about 1 centimeter suspended in the air, so I stop squeezing and just place the line down. Then if you're doing a dot, you need a more upright angle. So you'll squeeze your dot, and you want to keep the tip of the bag in the dot and then just lift it gently. So you stop squeezing before you lift, because otherwise if you continue to squeeze you'll just end up with a big peak like that.
That's what
So
I get.
you almost bounce it in there and stop squeezing and lift quickly. Stop squeezing, lift quickly. It's inevitable to have a tiny peak, and if you want to get rid of it, you can dampen a paintbrush and just pat it down. And obviously the size of your dot is affected by how much you squeeze, and also by how big you cut the hole in your bag. So the angle generally for piping biscuits is a 45-degree angle like this. And then when you've got a big, simple shape...
What's this finger doing? Is it just directing
This is actually balancing the bag. So
okay.
It's helping me... Because otherwise your hands alone, it can be quite shaky. So
Okay.
this one just balances it. You can also use a whole hand. You don't have to use just your finger. And now, so with this, we'll start in the center. You don't have to follow the exact outline of the biscuit. You can always go in and create your own.
Oh my god, you make it look so easy.
I know. Actually, generally it's easier to go across like this. So I'm lifting it because and looking slightly ahead of where I'm going, so I could see when I need to place the bag closer to the biscuit. Anytime you change direction is when you go closer to the biscuit. This icing actually feels quite stiff. I could have gone a bit softer. And then I'm just going to bring this in here because that line popped. So you'll see when you do something like a butterfly, the top wing, I'll do a simple shape for the top wing. What we'll do is we'll pipe the body on the top afterwards, and we'll do a big dot like this, and then keep squeezing and drag. So that'll be the body, and then you just pipe a little head. But I always like to have the wings starting underneath it. So you start right in the center, and you squeeze and lift. And then as you get towards the edge there, you touch down slightly. And you'll see with this wing, you need to stay closer to the edge if you want more definition like this. This is too stiff, this icing actually. So you can lift it up higher. You see,
Is the stiffer harder to use then?
it is, it's kind of... Well, here I got confused because I was going to suddenly give it shape there. Yeah, you're just squeezing a little bit harder, so you are concentrating on that rather than having a little bit more, free movement. I might soften it for some of the others.
And then when would you use a dot? Would you do the dot now and then flood it? So you do all of...
With the dot for what? Sorry.
I just like a decoration. I mean, you were showing us how to do the dot.
Yeah, you'll only do piped decoration with the stiff icing once your biscuits have dried completely. But in this class today, because your icing will still be too wet for that, we'll do all drop-in detail. So I'll show you how to do that with the runny icing. In the meantime, I'm going to make this very slightly softer. So